Hello guys, welcome to another series of lessons in computer science O level. In this series of lessons, uh, I'll be here to demystify most of your disturbing concepts in practicals. And the first module or thematic area I'm going to start with is programming. Knowing fully well that programming forms one of the fundamental blocks of A-level computer science, it's important that at the O-level, candidates should have good mastery of programming. In the previous lessons, we have seen algorithm problem solving, and now we'll be looking at programming, which is the last phase of software development, which you need to translate an algorithm into a program. So let's ride on into the lesson. So our practical lesson number 1 is introduction to programming, and in our lesson plan we are going to have an introduction to what programming is, activity or lesson content, practice exercise, conclusion, then we have assignment and revision questions. Now this series of lessons are going to be more of hands-on, which means that we expect students to be able to use a computer system to carry out practical exercises using a programming environment. Now I'll start by leaving this environment so that you can look at my desktop. So you will see that on my screen I have different applications installed, and I'm going to be more concerned with the applications for programming. And as you can see on my machine, I have devc++. It's an IDE, and an IDE is a software that permits you to write a program, and it permits you to write programs written in C language. Then we also have code blocks. I always install all these IDEs in my machine. Okay, code block is not here. So another application that you can install is code block, which I'm going to install so that you see how installation is done. So I'm going to go to code blocks. This code block, this is a setup. I run the installation. I'm sure in your school your teachers must have guided you on how to install applications. An application is a software that is used to perform specific services to the end user. So I'll just follow the prompts and I continue, and I'll leave that installation to go through. So while the installation is going through, let's focus on the fact that when you are developing a software, you need to use a programming environment, and an IDE is what we call a programming environment, and one of such IDEs is what I'm installing, which is called code block. Another IDE is devc, and we also have for there's also Python. For Python languages, there's what we call PyCharm. There's so many IDEs available now, but for GCE, candidates are required to write either C program or maybe a Pascal program, and in Pascal programming they can use free Pascal. So any of this is acceptable. So while we are following the installation, we will just wait and we'll do some basic testing. Now in the phase of the training, like here, we are going to look at, before we go to the revision questions, we are going to look at programming concepts, and in those programming concepts we are going to look at how to create a project. We are going to look at, my installation is almost finished, so I think it's good. We are looking at how to test our compiler. That's, I'm using C. We are going to write compiler, sorry. We are going to write a simple C program. and we are going to understand the structure of a C program. So basically, those are some of the things that we are going to be doing from our machine. Okay, we are going to use code block. I like to start with code block since it is easy for students to understand. And from here, when you launch code blocks, it brings you to this interface. There are things that we should take note from here. When you look at this screen, you are going to see create a new project, open an existing project. Okay, we are more to be paying attention to these two. Why? There are times where you already want to continue from a previous project. You take open an existing project and it will prompt you to actually choose a project. But we are going to start with create a new project. That's the first step. We'll choose console application. They go. You can always keep this. We choose C, not C++. On this prompt, we are going to give it a title. So I can call it project test 1. Now, folder to create project in. Normally on the day of exam, candidates will be expected to save all their work in a particular folder. So you simply need to click on these three dots on this icon, and you go to the desktop, and you are going to see where you want to create. Now in this situation, I'll just go back. I'll create a folder on the desktop. So I'll call it C projects. That's my folder on my desktop. I keep it safe. On the day of exam, it could be your name or your candidate folder or your candidate number, sorry. So I'll come back to, start the process again. Next, so I'll call it, I can call it program 1. We select the folder. This is my folder, C projects. And when you select, you enter in the section for C projects. Where you have folder, you have C project. You don't type. Okay, we take next, and we take finish. Now, when it comes to this interface, let me close this. There are times where you open this interface and it comes blank like this. The first thing to do is to bring back the module on the left that permits you to get to the text editor. So you can click on view, you click on manager. So it brings you back this management window. So first thing, you confirm the name of the project. There is a cross in front of sources. You click, you'll see main.c. You double click on main.c, and you are going to have this screen. Let me zoom out so that we can see well. Now you can see that on this screen, you can have the standard structure of a C program, which I'm going to explain. So the standard structure of a C program, we have the header files, we have the standard input-output header, then we have the standard library. These are header files. There are some functions that if you want to use in a C program, you need those header files to be able to use those functions in your program. Now, by default, a C program comes with the main function, then it comes with one print function and a return statement here. So we have 2 lines that are printed. Now, on this structure of the C program, you will notice that we have int, which is a keyword that stands for integer. We have main. A function is always written with a function name. Then we have brackets. These are normal brackets. You now have the set bracket, and in between the set bracket, you have opening and closing, line 5, line 8. Then in between those brackets, you have now statements. Every statement in a C program ends with a semicolon, and this statement called printf means that it is a function that permits you to print text on the console. So if I run this program, it's going to print hello world on my screen. Then you also have \n that permits you to go to a new line. At times they call it a format specifier. Then you have return 0 that ensures the program terminates. So my dear students, on the day of exam, first thing, you have to ensure that when you reach at this level, you have to test if the compiler is working. And to test if the compiler is working, you simply press F9 on your keyboard. When you press F9 on your keyboard, you are just going to wait for the program to compile. When it compiles, okay, you are going to see this black screen. When you see this console, this command line screen is going to display hello world, this statement, process return 0, execution time 1.04 seconds. Press any key to continue. This means your compiler is working and your code editor is working. Remember, a compiler is a software that converts code written in high-level language to machine language. So before you proceed by writing any program, you must test if the compiler is working. So the first thing, we have seen how to install an IDE. We have seen how to start a new project. We have seen in C, we have seen how to save the project in a particular directory. So for now, if I close the program and I come to my folder C projects, I'm going to see the name of the program, program 1, and I'm going to see the files that constitute that program. So basically, that was what we were supposed to do in this first lesson, to be able to test our programming environment and to ensure that it is set for a program to run. So for revision question, the first question is, what is the difference between an IDE and a text editor? And you should state the different IDEs used in programming. So at this juncture, we have come to the end of this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to dive straight into writing basic programs in C, starting by using primitive data structure. Remember, our objective is to demystify